Alright guys, it's time for me to face the music here. I wasn't really looking forward to doing this. I've had a few days to digest the result for my team in the Championship Playoff Final, but I'll also be reacting to the Playoff Final in League 1 and League 2. And congratulations to all three sides who have been promoted via the playoffs. But yeah, so let's get into the Championship one. Oh boy, I was not wanting to do this at all, but hey, you know, I was going to be here if we won. I've got to be here if we lost as well. So my boys, Sheffield United, lost in the most incredible circumstances against Sunderland. Sunderland, you know, really embodying the, you know, going to the last minute and never giving up. They did that in all three of their playoff games. Both legs against Coventry City and also in the final at Wembley. And, you know, I said before this, right? This is the derby of the red and white striped bottle jobs when it comes to the playoffs. We have never been promoted by the playoffs. Sunderland have only been promoted once in 8 attempts at the playoffs. So 2 of the worst records when it comes to playoffs. But saying that, now Sunderland have been promoted 2 of the last 3 times they've gone into the playoffs. So their recent record in the playoffs is actually pretty good, to be honest. But ours continues to be bad. 10 losses. With 10 different managers and 10 different playoff campaigns. It's just laughable. You got to laugh or you're going to cry at this. You know, and I really thought we were going to do it, you know. The goal on the break from Tyrese Campbell. What incredible work it was by Gus Hamer. Running with, I mean, he's not a pacey player. He's not slow, but he's not a pacey player. But he absolutely carried that ball all the way. This is a Sunderland corner, by the way. Carried that ball from the edge of our box all the way to the halfway line pretty much. Passes it through to Campbell. And that was a tough pass. There were 3 Sunderland players between him and Campbell. He had to absolutely weight that perfectly. And he did. Found Campbell. Campbell, cool as a cucumber, lofts it over the goalkeeper. 1-0. Absolutely in raptures. And then it was 2-0. Believe it or not, we scored a second goal. You might look at that and you might think, well, wait, you only scored 1. What are you talking about? Harrison Burrows, take a bow, son. What a finish that was from outside the box. A volley from a kind of rebound from a corner. Just fired in. I didn't know he had that in the locker. He's normally someone who is known as a penalty taker. You know, that's kind of the only goals he really scores. I mean, you got to finish him still, but unbelievable finish. But good old VAR was in force during this game. During all of the playoff final games. It's not been in force in any of the EFL games. In any of the divisions at any point, not even the Championship semi-finals, right? None of them had VAR. You know what? A small part of me is glad that we don't have to have VAR next season. You know, I'm not glad we've not gone up. Don't get me wrong. I'm fuming at that. But the fact that we don't have VAR to put up with next season is something because... And people will say, well, it was the right call. Vinny Souza was in an offside position and he was blocking the goalkeeper's eye line. That is very debatable, by the way. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that one. But what I will say is the fact that, like we always say here, VAR was brought in to clear up clear and obvious errors. I said this after Villa lost against Man United at the weekend. They were robbed, by the way. I've seen that incident back some more, and I'm absolutely 100% convinced that they were robbed when it came to that. That was horrible. Morgan Rogers' goal being disallowed like that was so wrong, in my opinion. But check out a video on the final Premier League day to see some more information about that. But when it comes to this was not a clear and obvious error by the referee. The referee gave the goal. Nobody would have batted an eye. Nobody would have batted an eyelid at this if this goal was given. Referee went to the monitor though, predictably disallowed the goal. I mean, very debatable call to say the least, but it took about, 5 minutes to clear up? We had like 7 minutes added on in the first half because there was an injury to a Sunderland player after literally a minute or so. A really nasty one, actually. I think he dislocated his shoulder. Because he did come back onto the pitch later to celebrate and he had his arm in a cast, so really serious injury for him. Hope he's okay. But yeah, after that, the wind was very much knocked out of our sails. The rest of the first half was a bit drab, to be honest. Not too much happening there. Second half, Sunderland come out. The momentum is completely switched. We make a couple of mistakes and they score a couple of goals. You know, they took their chances. We had a lot of chances. We had a lot of opportunities. I think it was Sariki late on had a really good opportunity to get a second goal to send us through to win the game for us. Because it would have been 2-1 at that point to us. But Tom Watson, and by the way, Mayenda, brilliant finish, great run. Good job by him with that one. But Tom Watson, with his last kick as a Sunderland player, wins it for Sunderland, gets them promoted. You know, honestly, I'm happy for the fans. They are incredible fans of the Sunderland fans. I didn't realise this was the longest they've ever been out of the top flight. 8 seasons, I think it said it was. So, you know, you could say they were due to go up. You know, they're a huge club. They're a massive club. And having the time Weir Derby back in the Premier League next season, that is incredible in itself, you know. I'm really, really happy with the fans. I don't begrudge the fans at all. I don't begrudge the team. You know, Sunderland did their job on us, you know. They took their opportunity. When it went to 1-0 again, instead of being 2-0, they took their opportunity. They went for it, and it worked out for them. Whereas we had a key injury to Gus Hamer. He got took off in the second half. And yeah, Kiefer Moore with a terrible pass and just seized upon by Sunderland. And that is the fine margins that football is won and lost on, especially in the Premier League. You know, we play like that in the Premier League. We're getting beat every single week. So best of luck to Sunderland. People are already saying, I mean, Chris Sutton on BBC Radio 5 Live, I was listening to him. I don't know why I listened to him. I can't stand the guy, to be honest with you. Some of the stuff he comes out with. I know he's a wind-up merchant, but some of the stuff he comes out with saying, oh, Sunderland are going to be relegated, Sunderland are going to get 10 points, they're going to be the worst Premier League team ever. Just let him enjoy it, man. They just got promoted. You don't know that. They could go out and get recruitment and do incredible. You know, they could do a Brighton or a Brentford style recruitment drive, basically. You know, they could do that. I mean, I'll admit it's unlikely they'll stay up given the form of teams that have come up from the Championship recently. 6 out of 6 relegations in the last 2 seasons. But why not? Why not? They're a massive club and I wish them all the best. I have no ill will towards them at all. I'm fuming that we've lost the game, but really for me it's VAR and the officials, really. Purely VAR, to be honest with you, because the referee actually gave it on the pitch. Linesman didn't flag for that. For me, that should have been a goal. But hey, I suppose I'd be saying the opposite thing maybe if Sunderland scored an identical goal. I don't know. We'll have to see. But guys, let us know in the thoughts in the comments below. Should Sheffield United's second goal stood, or was it correctly disallowed for VAR? Was that a correct use of VAR? I want to hear what you have to say in the comments below. But anyway, can you tell I'm rather passionate about that? I've got a lot to say about that. But let's go through the other 2 games. League One Play-Off Final. Charlton against Leyton Orient. London derby in Wembley Stadium. Great job for both clubs really to get to this point. You know, Leyton Orient, they've not been in the second tier for like 40 odd years. Charlton, it's been a good while for them. I think it was 5 years or so. But yeah, typical of Charlton. I mean, I don't really watch Charlton very much, but I've got a good few friends who are Charlton fans, and they very much said that this was a typical Nathan Jones win. Their manager, of course, you know, not really having that much of the ball. Not really having that many opportunities, but being clinical when they came. And that very much sums this up. Orient had far more opportunities, far more of the possession, but they were really poor in taking them. Just 1 shot on target from 16 efforts. That's just not good enough. They didn't perform, unfortunately, on the day. Charlton were clinical. Macaulay Gillespie firing them back to the Championship. Really bad for Orient, of course. You know, they come so close, but they just fall short. But they'll be back next season, and they'll be fighting to get back to the second tier for the first time in, well, more than a generation at that point, really. But let's talk about League Two as well. Now, this was Wimbledon against Walsall. You know, Walsall really not coming into this one on the best of form, aside from, of course, the playoff semi-final where they absolutely brushed Chesterfield apart. And I was surprised to see them do that, to be honest with you. You know, of how bad they were in the latter parts of the season, but you know, fair play to them, you know, to get to this point, very well done. But unfortunately, this was their final hurdle and they fell at it. Wimbledon getting the job done. Walsall really not having a good day, you know. I mean, there wasn't a lot in this one. It was not a classic, just like the League One playoff final. But Miles Hapotley, I think that's how you pronounce it. Probably pronouncing it very wrong. I do apologise if that is probably the case. But yeah, I mean, Wimbledon just had more opportunities and they took them. Simple as that. They're not really rocket science, to be honest with you. But yeah, Wimbledon back to the third tier. Walsall, they threw it away. They really should have got promoted automatically. They really should have done. What did they have? They had like a 15-point lead, I swear, at some point over fourth place, and they absolutely bottled it. Terrible for them. Really do feel for them to come. I mean, listen, I know what it's like to have a great season in the regular season and then fall short at the final hurdle. My team's done the exact same thing. We've literally had the best second-tier season in our history, I believe. Or at least since it's been 3 points for a win anyway. I think we did win the Championship or Division 2 title back in the 50s, but very long time ago. 2 points for a win back then, harder to convert and all that. But yeah, in the modern history anyway. And Walsall have had an excellent season as well in League 2, but finished fourth. Didn't get through in the playoffs. So, you know, that is how the cookie crumbles. But well done to Wimbledon, well done to Charlton, and well done to Sunderland. you guys will all be playing in a higher division next season. But yeah, I will be bringing you the reaction to the National League playoff final. That's not been done yet. The EFL season may be over, the Premier League season may be over, but we've got the Conference League final, we've got the Champions League final this weekend as too. Let's not forget about that. And after all that as well, we've got the Club World Cup, we've got the Women's Euros. You know, the season itself may be coming to a close or maybe over in terms of some competitions, but there's plenty to talk about here on the channel, guys. We have no shortage of that. And of course, we'll have loads of transfer news, gossip, speculation, theories, all that good stuff here on the channel, guys. Have a fantastic day wherever you are in the world today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always. And we'll see you very soon for much more content just like this on the beautiful game. Even when my team lose in the last minute, I'm still here. Like I said, I'm still here. That's not going to change.